Good afternoon, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, and I don't think there are many in this chapel that don't, my name is Jeff Burkett. The family has asked me to say a few things about the lady our family has fondly referred to as Auntie Helen. Helen McKellar was born in Kispet, a district of Budapest, Hungary, on May 10th, 1917. She was the only child of her parents. Helen's father was a tailor, and sometime after his daughter's birth, he and his wife discussed and made plans that he, by himself, would move to Canada and take advantage of the opportunities here. He did just that and settled in Fort Saskatchewan. There, he successfully plied his trade, and through his hard work and frugal living, saved enough money to not only buy a house in Fort Saskatchewan, but also one in Bruderheim, a village northeast of Fort Saskatchewan. By the time Helen was 8 years old, her father arranged to have his wife and young daughter Helen move to Canada to join him. Helen's father set his family up in his Bruderheim home, and Helen went to the community school. She kept herself busy in town, sang in the church choir, and was involved in many other activities. She left school when she completed grade 8. While in her 20s, Helen moved into Edmonton, where she, like many young ladies her age, had a circle of good friends. It was with the encouragement, if you will, that two of her best friends introduced her to a dashing young man named Bill Burkett. After a suitable courtship and engagement, Helen and Bill married and continued to live in Edmonton. As time progressed, sons Bill and Randy and daughter Valerie added some excitement to the family. Helen was a stay-at-home mom while her husband, Bill, followed his family's tradition of working as a baker. As time and circumstances allowed, and as the children grew and were able to take care of themselves, Helen obtained work at Simpson Sears, where, following in the footsteps of her father, she became a seamstress with the company, making alterations of clothes as required by the store's customers. Helen's husband, Bill, passed away in 1983. Helen stayed in the family home. With the able and willing assistance of her children, who mowed lawns, shoveled snow, and took Mom shopping and to her community activities and medical appointments, Helen lived a comfortable life. Helen enjoyed and kept herself busy and entertained by reading, playing cards with friends, knitting, sewing, quilting, shopping, and going out to bingo games. Unfortunately, in 2012, Helen, at home and 95 years of age, slipped and fell, breaking a hip. While convalescing in hospital, she was assessed and evaluated by hospital staff who determined that with no other person in her home able to provide assistance she would require to continue living there, she would be unable to return home. She, of course, was devastated by that news. Her family then made arrangements to have their mother move into the Dickensfield Extended Care Center. While she missed her home terribly, she realized she had no choice in the matter and had to make the best of her life at her new residence. Bill, Randy, and Valerie were then faced with the task of removing all of Mom's possessions from the home. Helen, being the seamstress she was, had amassed a truly amazing amount of knitting wool, bolts upon bolts of cloth for her sewing projects, and, of course, innumerable patterns. When all those materials had been loaded into a pickup truck the boys were using to move Mom's things, they were utterly astounded to find the knitting and sewing things alone completely filled the box of the truck, from the floor right to level with the top. Helen lived out her life at Dickensfield and sadly passed away last Friday, September 18th, at 103 years of age. I have to mention the unwavering support provided to Helen by her sister-in-law, Daphne Aiken, and my sister-in-law, Helen Burkett, with their weekly visits with Aunt Helen. Even after Auntie Daphne's passing, Marilyn continued her visits despite the COVID-19 problems which made the visits difficult. Helen's daughter-in-law, Carol Burkett, and niece, Dorothy Aiken, were also regular visitors. At this time, I am going to invite Carol up to say a few words.
There are several things I would like to say about my dear mother-in-law, Helen, who had many endearing qualities. I married into this fabulous Burkett family and was immediately accepted wholeheartedly by Rand's mom, dad, Bill, and Valerie. Mom always treated me like I was her daughter and always made me feel like I was part of the family. I realized very quickly just how lucky I was to have such a terrific mother-in-law and marry into such a wonderful family who were full of love and support. I married Rand November 30th, 1968, and for Christmas Day, I had so many gifts and such a wonderful Christmas, I couldn't believe it. Mom went overboard in trying to make Christmas so special for everyone. I was showered with so many lovely gifts. The one that stands out in my mind was a beautiful pink and mauve dress that was fully lined, which was a Helen original that fit me perfectly. I was so happy to have such a beautiful dress. From that day on, Mom made me many gorgeous outfits. My friends were very envious. I was definitely one of the best dressed people at the school board and had many compliments on how nicely I was dressed and the quality of my clothing. I could show Mom a magazine with a picture of a model wearing a dress I liked, and Mom would make her own pattern and sew it up. Very seldom did it need altering and usually fit me perfectly on the first fitting. She always said how she liked sewing for me, as everything she sewed looked so good on me, being very humble, like she was, and giving me the compliments rather than taking any credit herself. Mom made her Halloween costumes every year, and I can remember winning Best Costume for our Wonder Woman and Superman outfits. Her talents were second to none, and I believe she could have been a highly respected designer had she been given the chance. Mom was very helpful and supportive when Shane was born. She gave up many of her Saturdays to take Shane overnight while holding down a part-time job at Sears, taking care of her mom, making lovely meals for her family, and keeping her house spotless at the same time. Through all this, I never heard her complain. Mom enjoyed life and seemed focused on making life easier for everyone else. Mom loved her family and friends very much and was always there to give a helping hand to everyone she knew. She was very proud of her whole family and never had a bad word to say about anyone. She had a great sense of humor, loved cooking and baking, sewing, working hard, and frequenting the bingo halls. Mom was very smart and intuitive and seemed at various times to have psychic abilities. In all honesty, I cannot say anything bad about her. She truly was the kindest and strongest person I have ever known. I loved her like a mother and will miss her very much. Thanks, Mom, for all you've done for me, as I truly appreciate everything you did. You helped make me a better person and open my eyes to the true meaning of family and friends. Rest in peace, Mom, knowing you left behind many admirers, and you will always be in our thoughts and forever in our hearts. Love you, Mom. Dorothy, would you like to come up, please?
Okay, I think everybody here knows me, but I'm Dorothy Aiken, and I was Helen's niece, or I am Helen's niece. What I'm going to do is something a little bit different. My parents in the early 1950s moved to Calgary, and my mom proceeded to write to her family back and forth almost daily, and she saved all those letters. And the letter that I'm going to read to you is a letter written by Aunt Helen. So it's in her words, and so I'll start off by reading it. It was written on April 11th, 1951. Dear Daphne and George, must drop you a few lines. Tom, Joyce, and the kids were just here half an hour ago. I sewed Jeff a pair of pants from a pair Tom had. By the way, thanks for the cards at Easter. The kids were tickled, and Billy sure thinks a lot of the airplane. He took it to school to show this afternoon. He said he will send George a present next Easter, so you'll have something to look forward to. Bill took the engine out of the car and had it overhauled. He sure has been busy, so don't expect a letter from him. Deirdre was here today, and she has gone thin. Tough on me, I have to take in all her clothes, about 4 inches. She'll be down tomorrow for a few things which I have to fix in the morning. She's been pretty good, though, looking after the kids every Monday. I don't mind doing it. We didn't make the playoffs, but we're playing the last 3 games with the other team that didn't make it either. So the best one of the 2 will get some sort of prize. Last week we won 2 games, so we are a good chance of getting the booby prize. I went to a show last night with the kids. Bill was working. I was a male war bride. Sure was good. Randy went and slept, so I had a pretty good time. He's crazy about seeing shows anyway and doesn't bother about going out. Billy just came up and asked who I was writing to and what, so I told him. He says, that's good, and kissed me. That's for doing it, he says. What a kid. They are both playing Superman with the pillowcases. No wonder I haven't many left. I'm making a new pair crocheted around one now, not the other yet, but it goes fast. It's an easy pattern. What have you been doing since you got back home? Have you made any aprons yet? Well, here it is Friday, and I must finish this letter. Phil just came, so I couldn't finish the letter the other night. She had me take in a dress she was making. It didn't fit across the back, but we got it fixed up, and I think it's going to be very nice. Last night I was over at the neighbor's. She had a friend of hers over to demonstrate cosmetics. All 3 of us got a facial. I wouldn't mind having the kit, but it's $18. Of course, you can buy separate creams, but that's too much for me to get. It was fun, though, and the other girl got $20 worth of stuff. I was over at Minnie's, and she was making a rug from old rags and using the end of a tail comb. There's no sewing done in it, and it sure is nice and easy to do. I'm going to start one just to get the hang of it, but I haven't enough rags. I give all our worn clothes away to a family that's in need. Well, I guess I'll close for now. Right soon. Love, Helen. So when I read this letter, there was a couple of things that came to mind. First of all, and all of you know who the people were, hopefully, that I spoke about that was having sewing done. But as you can see, all her sewing projects in that 2-week period were for the Burkett family. Pants for Jeff, Deirdre's clothes taken in, helping Phyllis. And I know my mom always spoke so highly of Aunt Helen's wonderful talent. But I think what's most important that is this letter shows her willingness to help everybody out and anybody out, regardless of whatever else she had going on in her life. What I also see in these 2 pages is her courage that lasted her to 103 years of age. Alone with a husband working, she packs up the 2 kids and goes to a movie because she wants to go see the movie. And she has a good time. She manages to enjoy herself. She was a woman who knew how to add fun to her life. She enjoyed bowling, playing cards, or going to the makeup party, even though she couldn't afford the makeup. This is the same courage that I think allowed her to move to Edmonton on her own. Now, the story that I heard was that she moved to Edmonton when she was only 16. So I don't know if I got the story wrong, but regardless of how old she was, I think it took a whole lot of courage to leave her parents and move away. It was a story that she told me a couple of times, so I knew that it was really meaningful for her. In the letter are also the DIY projects, the crocheting the pillowcases from the rag rugs, but I also noticed her kindness. She doesn't have any rags because she's given the used clothing to the needy kids. She lets the boys play Superman with the pillowcases. Now, I can tell you my mom would not have let us play Superwoman with pillowcases off the couch. So after my mom died in 2018, I had taken over the weekly visits to Aunt Helen, sometimes with Marilyn, sometimes on my own. And I so enjoyed talking with her. I would write on the whiteboard, and then I would ask her questions. And she really was my important connection to my mom's generation. A favorite memory I have of one of these visits is one day when I walked in, and she was not in a good spirits. And she said to me, "Oh, I'm just a zombie, and she was really frustrated. So I started asking her some questions about her childhood. And she started telling me about living in Bruderheim and how there was this family of 8 children that lived next door. And she started listing off the names of the 8 children. So I stopped her and I said, "Aunt Helen, you know what? If you were a zombie, you wouldn't be remembering the names of those 8 kids." So her eyes lit up and we had a really good laugh. So for me, I felt very, very privileged that I was able to spend time with Aunt Helen in those last years of her life. And I also think I could speak for the whole Burkett family, and I know for sure for my mom when I say the family was so, so lucky to have her. Thank you. I think that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, ladies, for those wonderful words and memories. The family thanks everyone for their being here this afternoon at this important event. Helen will be laid to rest at Beechmount Cemetery immediately following this service. For those who are able to do so after the interment, they are welcome to join the family at the home of Bill and Darcy. Their address is 8311 136 Avenue. Thank you very much.
Can we just gather around? Can we gather? Can we just gather around a little bit and we'll just say the Lord's Prayer? Everybody ready? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Forgive us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation. Thine is the evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. We can say our goodbyes, and then everybody's welcome to come over to our place for refreshments. Thank you for everybody to coming. Thank you, everybody. Yeah.